also there.
Ah, yes, yeah.
No, I was.
Making sure I get everything ready and up to date. Yeah, just updated OBS before going live because yeah, there's a new version. Let's do it.
And I saw still some check-ins coming in.
Yes, yeah.
And
Had to get the stuff that I'd been working on over the weekend. Had to get that in there, and actually did some work last night that was pretty pretty impactful. So yeah,
you didn't
look forward
sleep
to
last
going over
night.
there. uh, I got some good sleep, but
Okay.
yeah, there's just so much to do, so much to work on.
Yeah, I was still struggling a little bit with the sample on the website. What you updated last time with the Create React app.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it out, and there is nothing wrong, but just a few things that you don't mention, and that complicate it a little bit for people who don't know anything about it, just like me.
Okay, yeah.
No,
So things about
I forgot.
Create React app.
I forgot everything about React in meanwhile. So
Oh my goodness.
create React app uh, is also new, but okay. Well, what you see in Create React app comes from the whole Jinaga and from the whole JavaScript environment. But so here and there were things that, if that what was mentioned, it would be easier to have it correct directly.
Okay. Do you have
There's
some
one error.
examples?
Yeah, I wrote them down here,
Okay.
but I think it would be best that I just perhaps update it in the GitHub
Okay.
repository. For one thing which I'm not too sure, because I installed Docker in the virtual machine now. I already had it on my computer, but I installed it in the test machine that is running fine. But so when you run a Docker image, so I had Docker for Windows, which I installed on Windows. I have the WSL2 running in the virtual machine also.
Yeah.
But so Docker is running both in Linux and in Windows, or how does that work? Because I can configure and start a machine from the command prompt, from PowerShell, and from my Linux shell. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any difference.
Okay. Yeah. I believe Docker is running from the host machine, and then you have access to that from each of your, from WSL, which isn't a virtual machine, but it's a it is a separate isolated runtime, and so yeah,
But
if you were to start something in WSL, like start Janaga server listening at port 8080, then it would only be accessible within WSL. But I believe that the opposite is not true. So if you start something outside in the Windows host, then WSL can access it. And so yeah, I think that's the direction that it's working.
I think in both directions, because remember we installed Postgres. Where did we install Progress? In WSL?
Um,
And then,
yeah.
wait.
Yeah, back when I ran Postgres on the bare metal, I think that I installed the Windows version of Postgres, and then I could run psql from, it's not psql, run the Postgres command line from from WSL.
Yeah, and pgadmin, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
installed pgadmin on the Windows, the host, and I installed PostgreSQL in the Linux machine. And I do have access, so it's working
Okay.
in both. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit, so it was not mentioned in the instructions whether I should install Docker in Windows or start it. And I saw on the videos that you run it, the video from last time, that you run in PowerShell. Then I say, let's try in the command prompt, let's try in Linux. and it always works. So that's why I try.
Yeah.
And then small things like, for example, at a certain moment you say, make a jinaga config.ts file. So I made it just in the upper directory.
Yes.
Just to discover that it has to be in the source directory.
Oh, okay. Right. Yep.
These are small things, but since we are using Create React app to make it easy, we should continue to make it easy. Then a few imports are missing. For example, import React in the app.tsx file. But I will just I will go through it again and systematically adapt the documentation, because also exports missing. Then, for example, the components directory, in the source code, in the source map, which is logical, but not so logical.
Yeah.
Then import collection into the site container. Then there was somewhere post.inside, which should be post.forSite. Wait, let me see in the model. Let me share it immediately, because I still have one that I didn't solve yet. I was running out of time again, like usual. Green, where is it? It's all black. No, it's this one. For example, if we go to the, it's starting to run slow with that Docker in the background.
Oh, okay.
I should probably give them a bit more memory. Here, so with posts, in the model, you have forSite, and then where was it in library here? Where was that? Here, you used inside, if I'm not wrong, in the documentation.
Okay. Yeah. I think 4 makes more sense.
Yeah. But the one I'm having trouble with right now is the. I'm missing part here because I made it smaller. Now it's not. It's not resizing correctly.
Yeah, I can see the browser tab.
Yeah, but it should give me an error message here.
Okay, there we go.
Created at, and that was in the post component.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because created at is a string or a date. And we know that by the time it gets here, it's always serialized to a string. Yeah. So, we can solve this with an explicit cast, or do something a bit more kind.
C type, but not in JavaScript.
Yeah. So for right now, go ahead and put in front of created at in quotes. Wait, no, I'm sorry. It's after created at as string. Yeah. Yeah, and it should be lowercase. Yeah, so that fixes it, but that's not the kindest thing to do.
I'd say first. saved. This should update. Yep.
There we go.
We got it. We got it. So now, if I go back to Postman, wait, I didn't. What did I get here in my browser? Just the time, that was all.
Right.
So if I create another post here, yeah, it's not following anymore. And I make it a post from yesterday, for example. And I send this one. So all the other posts, he know them already. So only one will be added now.
Yeah, but do you need to give it a new name?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Post 2. That'll be better.
Yeah, why is it taking so long to do that? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, probably because that machine is just a virtual machine that has not enough memory, I think. So if I would refresh here. Okay.
Yay! We have two.
That was very difficult following your example, but
yeah,
often
we need to fix that.
I don't succeed in even that, but now it works. Good. But with the replicator, with replicator and create React app, it's much easier to start. And the combination with Postman is really showing that, what happens. You have the facts, you add a fact, you see them. I think it's a very good idea.
Excellent. Yeah, I can't wait to start seeing what when I send out these little jobs, start seeing how people can pick it up and build something, build a tiny piece of an app.
And because actually here we can make whatever model and start trying out models.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, let me stop that. Yeah, okay.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, I made note of those things, but yeah, go ahead and send a PR for the documentation on that. Also, the the work that you've been doing on SQLite. I don't think that I can see your fork of the Janaga.net project. So, would you mind opening a draft PR against not the main branch, but the
SQLite,
the SQLite branch? Yeah.
You just a PR that I open for that branch?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and if you just mark it as a draft, then we know that we're not done yet. We're not ready to merge it in, but at least that way I can follow those commits.
You don't have access like this to that?
I couldn't find it. It didn't appear to be a fork on my side.
Yeah, but if you wait, GitHub. And then Jinaga.net on my fork, and there you take the SQLite branch.
Yeah, so when I go to Janaga/Janaga.net,
okay. If you go to the fork then, because if you go directly to, wait, I will just send you the link. That's perhaps
Okay.
easier. How was that again? Click on message to Michael. Yeah. So you have the link to the GitHub directly to the correct branch.
Okay. There's the link. Okay, excellent. Okay, so yeah, so from there I should be able to create a.
Or if you prefer that I make a PR, no problem. Eh?
No, this works. This works. So all I needed to do was to make this a remote, so that I can see your commits right alongside mine. Okay, so I'm just doing a get remote add Jan that, and then I'm gonna get fetch Jan. Okay, yeah, and I see the SQLite branch. Perfect. Okay, yep.
Okay.
That is all I need.
Okay.
Excellent.
You can admire some rubbish code. It will be a contrast with your own code, but
no, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, excellent. So yeah, the next thing that I want to show is the feeds endpoint. The feeds endpoint is now working. So this is a pretty big step. I'm pretty excited about this.
let me go back to our little documentation. Yeah, so we have to read and write. That's what we just used. And then the feeds and the feed endpoint.
All right. Yep. So so here's the replicator as we were looking at it before. We got a query there, so we can read from the blog site. There's a few more requests over here that I'd like to go over. But first, this only works with the latest version of the replicator. So let's get rid of this one that I created 14 days ago. That's rubbish. And yeah, it should be stopped. Let's delete it. Okay. And then we want to start up a new one. So let's see. Oh goodness, what was the? Let's just grab the command line off of Janaga.com, because that's where people would go.
Docker pull Janaga/Janaga replicator.
Yeah.
There it is.
So pull it. Now we've got the latest. And deploy it. Replicator deployed and running. Excellent. So, so now if I try to read, I should get back empty, because I don't have any data in this replicator. It threw away the volume that was attached to it, which is just fine. So let's create this blog post, and then I can do the list. And I see, there we go. We've got our post with 2 titles because we did a concurrent edit on those. So now let's go to Janaga/feeds, and I'm going to post this same specification to Janaga/feeds. So now it's not that I want this result back, it's that I want all of the supporting evidence for this result to come back.
So it gives the hashes.
Yes, indeed.
And the type.
Well, not quite yet. So it gives the hashes of the feeds. So
okay.
the important thing is that it's determining based on this specification what what subqueries it needs to run, what forward only feeds it needs to get. So so these 3 feeds correspond to, first of all, getting all of the posts for the site. One of those is that, probably the first one. And then another one of the feeds refers to getting all of the titles for all of those posts with this existential condition. So as soon as there's a next title, then that previous one is no longer returned. And so that's probably the second one. And then actually that's probably the last one, because that's the that's where it ends up. But an intermediate step is that it also has to get the facts,
the ones that are not returned.
Yeah, exactly. So it the facts that cause this existential condition to be false.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's the next title. So the current title would cause the previous one to be false.
That's because we need to delete these records that does not fulfill the existential condition.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So so what we do is we take each one of these feed hashes, and these are web safe hashes. So they are missing all of the characters that are not safe on the web. Like the slash has been replaced with underscore, and the plus with the minus, and the equals at the end have been dropped because we know exactly how long they are. We don't need the equals for padding.
Yeah.
So that means that we can take them and we can put them right here in the URL. And so we just do feeds / and then that hash, and so that executes that feed, and it gives us back the facts that are just in that part of the query. So yeah, in this case, it's giving us back a post, and so now here is the hash of the fact, and this one doesn't have to be URL safe, so it's got the padding and all that fun stuff.
Okay, and now we can use the load method.
Yes, exactly.
To load that particular fact.
Yep. So yeah, the load method, if we take a look at the body, that just takes the references. So so these references are, as it happens, oh yeah, this is a get, so it doesn't have a body. Those references are the ones that I believe came back from this one. So post title. Yeah, so I just copied that results that I got back here into the request there. And so I'm just sending in the references that I don't already have in my local database. So I'll grab those references, filter out the ones that I already know about, and then just say I want to load these because these are the ones that I have not heard about before.
But so here, if we would only give a title, blog.post.title, in the load as a parameter, it would still return us the post itself.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, here I sent all three, and so it computed the transitive closure and created one graph of those three, and then everything else that is necessary, all of their predecessors. So we've got the one of those titles, the predecessors, including the post, and so here's the other title with the predecessor post. And then here's the third title, which is the common ancestor of both of those, because these are only the current titles, the ones that we got with concurrent edits. And so now we've got the common ancestor, and then here's the post with the predecessor of the site, and then here's the site. And so all of that in one structure with these references back to other things within the structure, so that you know this is a complete graph. But yeah, just as you said, if instead we just asked for one title, then we would get back a graph that has that title. Let's see which one it is that we asked for, the WFX. So yeah, this very first one, that's the one that we asked for, the value of concurrent edit. But then it's got a post and another title. So here's the other title. So that's the earlier one that was superseded by two different versions. For the same post, so those hashes are the same, and then here's that post, and with a reference to the site. So yep, the entire graph.
So that means we still have to filter it locally, because a lot of these facts we will have already. Why can we not just use the bookmark for the load as well?
Yeah, and that might be possible. Yeah, I'll have to do the math on that to see if that properly works out.
Because it looks like now we are getting so many facts which we already have. If we would use the bookmark, then we just load the new facts. Or am I getting that wrong?
I think you're right. I didn't go to that level of optimization because these are causally connected, and so if you've got parts of the graph, the only way that you would have parts of the graph that are not causally connected is if you ask for more than one fact. And so it's like, the ones that you asked for. There might be an optimization there. Okay. There's one wrinkle in that, is that the bookmark that you ask for would not be related to the body of the request, because later you'll look at a feed, you'll get some more references, and you'll say, okay, I'm asking for these references, and here's my bookmark. So the predecessors that it has to load aren't causally related to the ones that you loaded previously when you first got that bookmark. So it could be that I was getting a feed that had nothing to do with this one, and so it doesn't have a common ancestor. But that common ancestor was but that feed includes a fact that was created after the common ancestor, just in time, not causally. And so the bookmark would be past that common ancestor, or not common, because the previous one doesn't reference it. And then you go back and you read from a feed that has a predecessor that's earlier than that bookmark, but you've never received it. So yeah, for it to properly filter out the predecessors, you would have to tell it the predecessors that you already know about. That might be a Merkle tree. That might be the way to do that.
Yeah, because you would need for every feed you would need to have a bookmark then.
Yeah, and that is true about feeds. That for every feed we've got a bookmark. But yeah, I think what you're saying is that if you could use that same bookmark that you just used for the feed when you did the load, yeah, we could put information into that bookmark that's, yeah. Yeah, so now when you fetch that feed, yeah, here's the, I think there might be a way through that. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. That would tie the bookmark back to the contents of the load, because even though it's not explicit in the contents of the load, we know that this was for a particular feed. Maybe the feed identifier, the feed hash, needs to be part of this in order to give the server enough information to make that work. But I'm not certain that that's the case. I don't know. Yeah.
To think about.
Yeah. Yeah, at the very least, this I'm not too upset about getting the transitive closure, because unless you are modeling something with a chain, then this transitive closure is going to be bounded. And usually you're going to be asking for several different references all at once. And so those common ancestors will only appear once in the response. So even if you already have them, you're not wasting too much bandwidth on the response. But yeah, that's like, hey, this is reasonable, but maybe it could be improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to that bookmark thing. So here I'm getting the this feed, and this one happens to be the current title is what this maps to, and that's why we only get these two titles, even though they have a common shared ancestor that they both have replaced. And then the bookmark that we're getting back is 5.2. And so that is, even though it looks like a version number, that is a list of fact IDs in decreasing order. And so the most recent fact that we received in this feed is fact ID 5. But it is part of a tuple, and we're not seeing the tuples anymore because that's not important from the outside. But inside, when we run this specification, we end up with a tuple that has the post and the title. And so those come in a pair. And so for the title, which has fact ID 5, it's related to the post that has fact ID 2. And so we take all of the facts in the tuple, and then we sort those fact IDs descending, and that gives us the bookmark. So that means that if we were to add a new fact that matches that specification, then that fact would be after this bookmark. So that's a very important very important thing to know. But then also, if that fact introduces, it just opens up a whole bunch of facts. Like, for example, you were just assigned to a project, and so your specification is, give me all of the work items for all the projects to which I'm assigned. Then that new assignment is going to be a brand new fact. It's going to have a large fact ID, but then each of the assignments will have happened at some point in the past. They will have smaller fact IDs, and so if you grab a batch and that batch is broken within those work items, you shouldn't have to receive all the work items all at once. So you receive some batch of those new work items. So that second number is going to keep track of where you are in that batch. So that's going to be the work item ID. So then you call back, okay, same assignment, but now give me more work items. Mm-hmm. So by having the bookmark like that, it takes care of those different shapes for how the data could be arranged. And so right here, you'll see we don't have any query starting parameters. If we take a look at the next one, we've taken this bookmark 5.2, and now we've got b equals 5.2. So that is, actually you can see right there as well. So we send in the request for that feed starting at that bookmark, and we get back no references. Same bookmark 5.2. Yep. So yeah, the algorithm is that we send the specification with feeds, get back a bunch of bookmarks, and then start some background processes that are fetching, or not bookmarks, feed hashes. And so then we start a background process that is getting each one of those and using the references, filtering them out, calling load, adding those to the database, and then updating the bookmark that is stored locally, and then going back and using that bookmark for the next iteration until it gets back no references.
So if we have long chains, that might be a lot of posts coming in.
Yeah, if you have long chains, then it will end up.
Oh, then it's the next one that
yeah.
It's the load, but not the feed.
Right. Yeah, because this is just a flattened list of all of the tuples that you get back from the specification. So even if you have a long chain, the tuples are going to have a fixed number of entries. These are the named entries. So yeah, your feeds will just continue marching forward, but then every time you load, you're going to get back more and more results. So yeah, we can probably do something to make that better. Although I am tempted to just say, don't do chains. This isn't created for chains. There's another data structure for that. Go play with the crypto bros. Okay. Yeah, some important things to talk about here is that the names that we are getting back for the feeds are completely machine generated. So in order to come up with that hash, I've eliminated all of the names that are inside of the specification. So the word post and the word title don't appear in the data structure that is hashed to produce that number. So if I were to change my my specification, just do some refactoring, just change the names, I would still get back the same hash. And so that's kind of like taking the the DevOps advice of don't name your servers to the next level. Don't name your queues either.
Yeah. What is the advantage there? Because the properties in the models are not going to change.
Yeah. So the advantage is first of all that the first time that you deploy this application, you write this specification, but you don't have to reason through what are the different feeds that I need to make that work. The system does that for you. And then the second thing is, as you deploy the second version of the application, and you say, now I'm going to have an abstract, and you define that. That creates some additional feeds, but the previous ones still have the same names. And so your clients that upgrade to version 2 get to keep their bookmarks, and they don't have to re-download a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So they can just load the old data, and it continues to work. And clients who already have the new model, they also work independently.
Yep.
Okay.
And those clients can post their new facts, and the replicator can just automatically start responding to those new facts without having to deploy any changes to the replicator, except distribution and authorization rules. So that is one caveat there. But then the old version can still talk to that replicator that has these new facts, and they're only asking for the feeds that they care about because they're only sending in the old version of the specification. So yeah, you get versioning, you get the system figuring out what it is that you care about, and there's another advantage that kind of occurred to me. So right now I'm satisfying this feed when I come back and make this call. I'm satisfying this feed by doing a SQL query. So I'm taking that portion of the specification and then turning that into a bunch of joins, not exists. Do that SQL query. But you might want to optimize that. You might want to say, well, instead of loading from the same SQL database where I put my facts, I'll want to offload that work. Maybe I'll create a Kafka topic. And so the replicator, not this version, but some later version. Oh, that's the wrong hash. The replicator could take this and create a Kafka topic named that, and then running a query universe every time it receives a fact, it figures out which of these feeds need that fact, and then it pushes those feeds into that topic. And then when you call feed, all you're doing is you're going after Kafka and saying, okay, give me some records out of that topic. So that will greatly increase the performance on the read side and the scalability, because reads and writes won't be competing anymore. And so that is a future optimization for the replicator, and it's completely invisible from the outside.
Yeah.
So I just love this. I just love that people don't have to think about their Kafka topics and their queues and their messages and what they're going to subscribe to. It's just all of that is generated behavior. I mean, that's chapter 12. Yeah, chapter 12 of the book, not.
Oh, that's chapter 11, no?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, the joke works better for chapter 11. Yeah. But yeah, generated behaviors. Right here on the screen. It's working. So.
Okay, so in fact we have, except for notifications, the functionality of the replicator is the notifications and then distribution and authorization rules.
Yes.
But beside that, the functionality of the replicator is complete.
Yep. From here, we can start working on Janaga.net and make it go through that that process of asking for feeds, and then looping over all those feeds in parallel, storing them into the local SQLite database. So, yep, making some good progress there. Yeah, as it so happens. Yeah, go ahead.
So we send the specification in the feeds, and that it returns these feed URLs. But every time I add facts, the feed URLs are gonna change.
The feed URLs are based only on the shape of the specification. So the feed URL knows about this fact. It knows about the site. If I were to run this from for a different site, so not michaelperry.net, but janaga.com, then here, instead of I2A 7Q4, I'm going to get back an internal server error, of course. But yeah, I should get back a different set of feeds.
Murphy is everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What is it that it happened? Okay. Well, let's mark that down as a
Application must match at least, contain at least one match.
Okay, that should not have been a problem, because I haven't changed the specification. It's got all of the right matches in it. But then, yeah, we also have, let me just copy all of that. And there we go. I have that recorded in the agenda so that I can pick that up later. Excellent. Hey, debugging. All right. So let me restart that replicator. Well, okay, maybe just, okay, there it goes. Yeah, so now this one is stopped, and a new one should be started. So yeah, here's one other aspect of what we just saw, is that now if I, since I restarted the replicator, if I go after this feed, I'm going to get back a 404.
Because there are no facts inside.
The facts are in the database, so the facts have been stored. The thing that is just in memory is that collection of feeds. It names the feeds according to a hash, but it doesn't remember what the state of that feed was, or what the structure was.
Wait, I don't follow. So we restarted the replicator. We didn't put a new one in like we did before.
Right.
So the database was still intact.
Yes.
But then why doesn't it find that?
Yeah. So it doesn't find it because it needs to store this structure somewhere. Right now it's storing it in memory. So if I were to send this again, I'm going to, oh goodness. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, that thing. All right. Yeah. Let's restart that replicator. Okay, yeah, that one definitely did not have any matches, but yeah, it should have bubbled that error message up here and not killed the whole thing. Okay. All right. So now what I just did is I've successfully got the feeds, and you'll notice these are the same feed IDs as before, the I2A 7Q4. So if I take a look here, I've got the I2A and the 7Q4 from before, right? And there's the HCV. That was the third of those feeds. So So now that I have posted the structure and gotten back the hash, when I then get the hash, the server knows about the structure, and it's able to pick up from where it left off. So at the moment, feeds are not persistent. So the facts are persistent, and if you were to persist the bookmark on the client side, as the clients will, then that behavior, the bookmarks are going to continue to be persistent. But it's just if you try to access a feed, you get back a 400 or a 404, then you need to post that structure back to the server, which basically allows you to restart all of your your feed processes, but you'll still have the bookmark associated with this feed ID. So this hash, you look it up. Oh, I've got a bookmark for that. Let me keep going from there. So in the future, I will actually store that feed structure in the database. So even if you restart the replicator, you won't have to post the feeds back again.
Okay.
But this is actually not a bad bit of behavior for the client to be coded against. So if we go ahead and code the client so that it's 404, let me restart the feeds. Then when you swap out a replicator, then the client will be able to. Well, that's not quite right. When you swap out a replicator, you're going to get a different set of fact IDs. So you need to know that it's a different replicator. So yeah, basically the URL of the replicator can't be its identity, because that's location specific in Chapter 4. You can't have location specific identity. So even for an infrastructure component like a replicator, the identity is going to have to be something that a random number that it generates when it starts up. And so then the client will talk to that replicator and say, okay, I know which replicator you are, and then when I see this feed, I can look it up, and I know what my bookmark is for that feed, and I can start moving forward from there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting stuff. So yeah, but in addition to that, what I started on last night was updating the specification data structure in .NET to make it look like Janaga JS. And so the specification data structure, once I've got that refactoring done, should be able to serialize to this language, and then we'll be able to have the client send these requests to the replicator and start to do that work. In addition, since the Postgres code is written against that data structure, it should be a more direct port of the Postgres code. So this endpoint, the read endpoint, will be pretty similar to what we'll want to do on the client side in order to load facts into memory and give them back to the user interface. So we'll be able to take that code as it's written in JavaScript, port that to .NET, take the Postgres stuff and change that to SQLite stuff, and then we'll be able to produce these data structures and give them back as projections.
Great.
Yeah, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just gonna take a little bit more work. Oops, that wasn't the right one. That was the right one. There we go.
No, I'm always a little bit behind on the developments, but even being behind, I still see the progress.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that I'm tackling this this rewrite of the data structure is kind of fun. So I think I might actually turn that into a demonstration. Probably even a conference talk, because rather than going into the data structure and changing a thing and now nothing compiles, I'm very deliberately keeping all of the unit tests running as I'm doing this refactoring, even though it's a large-scale refactoring, because the only way that unit tests run is if the code compiles, and so you have to keep everything compiling. So yeah, the strategy that I'm using to do that is actually kind of fun. Just take a little bit at a time and throw some not implemented exceptions, run the test. Oh, okay, that one. Take a little bit more in. Yeah, and in the meantime, to start things out, you just do a rename refactor. So you take the existing data structure, you rename it to dash old, and then you see all of your code that depends upon that data structure change, and you're like, okay, cool, that's everything that I'm going to need to touch by the time I'm done, but it still compiles, and I can use that name now for the new one. So it's a fun little way to do it.
If you don't do it that way, you have to change everything at the same time without being able to use the tests.
Yep.
And then you have no indication of whether you're on the right way.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I'll put together a demo of that technique, because that's pretty fun.
Great. Next week I will not be there.
And nor will
also, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We will not be at the same place. I will not be at Pluralsight.
Nope, but
yeah.
But yeah, one of these days I'll make a trip to France, or maybe I'll come to the States. And
have you foreseen something, a talk over here, or?
I'm not foreseeing it, but I know people. I can make something like that happen.
Okay.
I don't know of any shows yet that are in France, but actually, yeah, if you do know of some, then I can start working my network in that direction and see what I can turn up.
Yeah, on this side, we are about, I think, 800 kilometers from Paris. Paris is the heart of France.
Mm-hmm.
So the Spanish Barcelona, which is not the capital, but it's the Catalan capital, is about 200 kilometers, 250 from us. So it's closer than the French.
Yeah, 800 kilometers is still that's probably about a 4-hour drive.
200 kilometers is
200 is like a half an hour, right?
No.
That would be 2 hours. Yeah.
That's gonna be 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And 800 is about 9-10 hours. It's kilometers. It's not miles. And,
yeah.
You have to be careful because they have speed guns and cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, but if one day you get around here, let me know.
Indeed.
Come to Europe.
Indeed. We'll make that happen one way or another.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So next week, not the week after, I should be back. Because if I'm not back on Thursday, then I'm in trouble. Because the day after, I have to bring my wife to the airport in Barcelona. So
okay, that kind of trouble. Yes, yeah, definitely need to get back.
If I'm not back, but I should be back then. If not, anyway, I will send you a message.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Michael. For Pluralsight, do you have any presentations or something?
Um, as it turns out, I do. So I wasn't expecting to, but they're running a pitch contest, so you can pitch a new course, um, and it's done in that competition style where you've got 3 minutes to pitch the course. People vote, and they actually are going to commission the course. So somebody will win the chance to record their course, and so I am pitching a historical modeling workshop course.
Okay. And that's gonna be live.
It's not going to be. It's not going to be live. It's not going to be broadcast. So that's just
Okay.
within the author community, and then once they have the winner and they actually produce the course will go out on the catalog. But um, but yeah, this is a historical modeling workshop is the sort of thing that I'm like, yeah, it's not a Pluralsight thing. I'm just going to put that course together, put it out on Udemy, um, and uh,
Mhm.
um, and sell the in-person version of the course through improving, and everything will be good that way. But then they say, hey, do this pitch contest. I say, sure, why not? And so
Okay.
yeah, yeah. At the extreme, it might actually be a Pluralsight course, but if not, that course will be available through other channels.
All right. Good, Michael. See you in 2 weeks' time, John.
All right, see you then.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.